So without further ado, I welcome you to the PMP training program. We will be taking So without further ado, I welcome you. So without further ado, I welcome you to the PMP training program. We will be taking you through the PMP curriculum, the official curriculum of the PMI given by PMI. Am I loud and clear?
Yes, you are. I'm trying to connect the speaker, but still not able to do that.
Little bit introduction about myself. I am Ahtisham, and I am PMI authorized trainer for PMP.
What's the best way to call you?
Ahtisham.
Ahtisham. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Ati. It's
And
Ati.
my nickname is even very simple, which is Sham.
Sham.
Ahtisham, Sham.
Okay, that's easier.
Yeah. And yeah, perfect. So I have been working in professional career from 13 years now after my graduation. And as part of my training portfolio, I have been working since 6 years as a trainer as well, alongside with my day-to-day job. Pretty much my career was primarily in the telecom industry. I worked as project manager for 8 years. And after that, 2 years, I worked in the banking industry. And now I am working in the insurance industry, primarily into the project management. Now, PMI authorized training partner I became in 2-3 years ago when PMI started this train the trainer program. So I got the training from PMI for delivering the PMP trainings. Although I was delivering the PMP trainings from quite some time, like 6 years, but PMI introduced this authorized training partner program because they wanted to ensure that we are delivering the quality content to the attendees. All right. So I am certified with PMP, PMI ACP, and Six Sigma as well. And I have also delivered the sessions in across Middle East for all of these trainings. So let's begin now a little bit about yours introduction. Maybe I would request DG to first introduce yourself. A brief introduction. Yeah.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Hi. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, well, I'm Gigi. I'm an industrial engineer by my education. So I studied project management as an industrial engineer for 1 semester. So I know the fundamentals of project management since the time I was in college. And the early years of my career, I was more into IT training. So I was training people on how to use applications, starting with Lotus 123, WordStar. But there was one program that really excited me, and that was Harvard Project Management. So there was a time in Dubai, I was the only one who was teaching it. And some years ago, so there were engineers and managers who would come to the training center where I started a training center in Pioneers Computer. That was my very first career, and that was my experience with project management. And then I took up a position as an assistant engineer technical assistant with McDermott, and also I was doing a bit of project management there. And then eventually I work on systems on ERP like Chameleon and SAP and Oracle and Microsoft. And there was a lot of project management involved in there. Well, I was not doing it myself as a project manager, but I mean, I wasn't a project manager, but I was a member of the team, and we had to comply to the deliverables with the milestones and all the things required for the project. And eventually, when I set up my own company, I had requests for training of project management using Microsoft. So I trained people in Microsoft project. And I've been wanting to do this PMP, but somehow I push it, and eventually it didn't happen. And I somehow changed into my career into soft skills. So the more I have forgotten about it because I focus more on communication skills, leadership, team building, and I got certified in behavioral style and mind mapping. But for project management, still it was in the background. Until recently, when I was looking at some job opportunities in the US, I saw that one of the requirements is as a project manager, and I thought it would be great for me to be certified. And so I'm looking forward to someday also be able, with your guidance, train others, and first of all be certified, and then see how we could collaborate and train as well. So I'm really looking forward for it. I know it's a lot of work, but I am ready to put in the
Wonderful.
effort required for it.
Thank you. Such a nice introduction.
Great.
Thank you. Good to know DG in more. And over to you, George. Would you like to give us a brief introduction?
Hi, I'm George. I never thought of doing project management ever. Gigi wanted me to do this with her, so I'm taking this plunge just to do this for her, to help her out with her projects that she wants to do. So this is all new to me. My experience, I have my own business 24 years now. I worked with an advertising and marketing company for 12 years. And I guess I did project management without even knowing that I did it, because I ran an advertising marketing company for 12 years, and we built advertising offices all across the country. And I became the official sponsor for the NWBA, the National Wheelchair Basketball Association. And we became the official sponsor for them and raised over $5 million through the advertising campaigns that we were doing.
Wow.
I got so good at being a motivational speaker, training, developing, teaching other people. I didn't have a life. 12 years, I was all over the country, training, developing, building, teaching other people. So I left years ago, moved across country, and moved to California and started my own steak and seafood business. So I just work for myself now.
Good.
That's me.
That's awesome. All right. So thank you guys for introducing, and now we shall move towards our agenda. We'll have two sessions today. In first session, I will going to cover little bit about what is PMP and why we should get PMP certification, and some eligibility criteria, and how is the exam structured, and so on. So, and in the second session, we will primarily dig deep into the fundamentals of the project management. So PMP is the trademark certification by PMI, Project Management Institute, and Project Management Institute. How it all began with in 1968 with a bunch of 4 people who were sitting in the at a dinner in the Georgia Institute of Technology, and they thought that we do not have a forum for project management professionals. So they came up with this initiative that we should have a forum where project managers should sit and talk, and then they should share the knowledge with the project managers across the world. So with this idea, this small community started to gather the people on this topic. And then from Georgia Institute, it actually moved out to a project management institute as a separate institute. And PMP, which the credential we are aspiring to get, both of you are aspiring to get, is started in 1984 by the same PMI institute. They started in 1984 when I was born. When I was born, this credential was also born in the same year. And now, what does PMP stands for? It stands for the Project Management Professional. And PMI certifies, and they declare that we have assessed this guy or the girl, or the person, that he has the capability, he has the knowledge, and he has the skills to lead people and deliver the project objectives for the organizations. So little bit about why PMP is de facto standard in project management now. It has earned the prestigious award in all of the renowned certifications. It became #1 certification as per the CIO magazine, as per the Economist, as per the many other surveys done in IT industry or certification industries. So PMP stands out. Well, what does it give you? It gives you that you have a globally recognized certification or credential, which is something very unique. And now more than 1.1 million people in the world have already obtained this prestigious credential, and this number is growing leaps and bounds. Every day, people are getting certified. Now, when it comes to certified PMs and non-certified PMs, like who have the PMP certification, they earn approximately 20%, 22% more salary than the people who are non-certified. And this is average across the globe, but it goes up and down through various continents that the PMP is famous in. But on average, it is 22% that people who get certification. And organizations also want their project managers to get certified in PMP. And then they trust that they know some method that is proven method to lead people on the projects and give the organizations the results that organizations are striving to achieve. Now, project management careers are also in demand, highly demand, as per the talent gap analysis done by the survey done by the PMI. Project managers are required in millions, like 2.2 million project managers will be required looking towards next 10 years in the world. And primarily, China, India were the leading countries where the demand will be more higher, followed by United States, and then the other countries where the project management careers will be in high demand. And just to search yourself, if you just type the project manager and try to search the jobs in LinkedIn, you will also see that thousands or hundreds of thousands of opportunities exist in the realm of the project management across whichever country would you select in the filters. So now, what is PMI? PMI, as I briefed a little bit about that, it was an institute. Like it is an institute, and it started in 1968 roughly. It was formed, and then now it is a full-fledged institute. It's a non-for-profit organization which is based in Pennsylvania and United States, and it operates in 216 countries as of now through its chartered and non-chartered chapters, up to 300 chartered chapters. So in each city of the world, roughly, we have a charter. We have a chapter for PMP. What does a chapter do? They conduct the bi-weekly meetings. We can draw the parallels with this organization, with the Toastmasters International organization as well, because they also operate through their chapters and their yeah. So exactly similar fashion, this organization also is present in all part of the world. Now, coming to PMP, who can sit in the exam for PMP? Any bachelor degree holder who has 4 years bachelor degree, coupled with 3 years of experience in leading and managing projects, and then obtaining formal education on the project management curriculum, which is 35 hours for which we are here. So first you need the bachelor degree, which should be 4 years. Then you need the 3 years of experience, roughly, and then you need the 35 hours of formal education and the certificate of attendance. Okay, if you don't have the 4-year bachelor degree, still you can sit in the exam. But in that case, you need to demonstrate that you have a 5 years of demonstrated experience in project management. Again, you also need the 35 hours of formal education on PMP curriculum. So I hope this is very clear. If you have any questions around the eligibility criteria for the exam, you may ask now. No question? Okay. Now, how does the exam look like? So PMP exam is roughly 3.8 hours exam. You have to answer 230 situational questions in this exam. Sorry, you have to answer 180 questions in this 230 minutes of the exam. And this is how you can split this time. There are 2 optional breaks, which are 10 minutes each. After every hour, you will get 10 minutes of the break. And you need to, you're out of 180 questions, 175 questions will be scored, for which you will be graded. 5 questions are pretest questions, which PMI has added just to ensure that, just to collect the data that whether these questions qualify to be part of the real exam. So they will make you to attempt those 5 questions and decide what is the complexity of those questions. So in short, you will not be graded for those 5 questions, you will be graded for 175 questions. Now, what type of questions can come in the exam are the multiple choice, where you will be given 4 or 5 options, and you need to choose, mostly you need to choose 1 correct option, or maybe you need to choose 2 correct options at some times, which means that it can be a multiple response question as well. We may see, but it is like very few that you will see the matching type of questions and hotspot and the fill in the blanks questions as well, but not in more numbers. What is the passing percentage? So PMI does not disclose the passing percentage. It's a relative grading. This is what we know, that you will be at particular time in a year, or at particular time in a month or day when you are giving the exam. Many people in the world are also giving the exam. So whoever, the nominal curve decides that how many people will pass. This is what we know, that PMI will decide that any person who has scored more than, let's say, whichever percentage they will put the bar on, above that percentage people will be getting the certificate, and below that bar people will fail the exam. What if you fail the exam? PMI will give you 3 chances in a year to reappear in the exam, but there is some cost that is involved. You cannot open your books or your notes during the exam. Exam is just like the real exam environment. You will be screened properly. When you visit the center, you will be feeling like this is a real exam, and then you will be given your own cupboard where you place your stuff, and you just need to bring in maybe 1 pencil or whatever they give you for taking your own notes, but they take the paper from you later on. Now, is it true that is it a difficult exam? Yes, it is a difficult exam. It's not a walk in a park. You need to prepare a lot. You need to practice a lot of situational questions. But if you are in the right mindset of practicing a lot of questions and understanding, it's pretty logical stuff that you need to comprehend and you need to practice. So it's easy, but for those who are committed and who are dedicated, it requires your time. You at least you need to set aside 100 hours of your within next 2 months, that these are the 100 hours that I need to give to get PMP certified. Like 35 hours with me, maybe 50 hours with me when I will be teaching you. But in your own practice, you also need to set aside 1 hour or 2 a day, so that you practice some questions of the PMP exam, so that you understand. Now, part of the PMP curriculum does require you to know the processes, to know some acronyms and the jargon of the PMP and the project management. However, the essence of the exam is that they test your situational leadership, and they test your situational how well you can handle the situational scenarios as a project manager, and what would be your next best action. So rote memorization that we used to do in our school will not work here in the case of PMP. Okay, so as I said that, but if you fail in the exam, you have another chance to appear in the exam in that case. However, most of the people, why they fail is that they during the exam they skim the question and then they decide so quickly without getting into the detail of the question or reading the question fully. They try to answer them to the answer of the questions. So this is one of the reasons that haste makes waste. So people just skim the question very quickly, and then they try to answer and then it gets wrong. Other than this, that sometimes we add situation to the question that is given in front of us. So we try to add some scenario from our own mind, which is actually not the case in the situation given. So do not add or subtract anything from the situation that is given. Stay in the situation, stay in the moment, and then decide what should be the next action. Also, once you have decided, do not change it. So that's the rethinking actually can also be a factor that you will fail the exam, because you will rethink and then you may make it incorrect. Other than that, people do not spend the full time available to practice or to give the exam. They just try to rush it and then they submit the exam too soon. Actually 230 minutes is a marathon. So very few people have that patience to sit that long, and this requires some patience and perseverance. And then you should not be second guessing. As I said, whatever you guessed as at first, it's based on some knowledge and real experiences. So trust your gut feeling. All right. So as I said that how should you prepare for this exam? You should set aside 100 hours from your next 2.5 months, I would say, in total, that you can set aside that this is the time I will dedicate for PMP. People have done it in 2 weeks. People have done it in 1 month. I have done it in 2 months with up to 150 hours of preparation. I was not a very promising student, so I spent a lot of time understanding, practicing, and I practiced close to 2,000 questions while I was preparing the exam. So, but what does it give me? It gave me the grounding and the love for the topic, that I am still carrying it and teaching and sharing the knowledge with many others. So it's a journey which will make you a better leader, which will make you equipped with better knowledge, and whatever is working in the field of management, you will be learning. So you need your own self-study time. You need the time with me for 35 hours, plus you need the time to practice the questions, and also to learn from your mistakes. Because once, let's say you practice 10 questions and 5 were correct and 5 were wrong, so you need to do the root cause analysis of those questions which were wrong. So once you will revisit those questions, you will get to know, yeah, I was not aware about difference, let's say, between progressive elaboration and rolling wave planning. So you will write it down, that what is progressive elaboration in one sentence. Let's say I just gave you an example. So learning from your mistake is the best way to correct the knowledge gaps in case of the PMP exam. So once you will sit and register for your exam, these are the following steps you will follow. And you will just register at pmi.org. You will create your profile or a CV, and then you will enter like a normal CV. You will enter your academic details, your experience details, and your contact details. With the experience details, you will mention the projects that you have done in a specific format, and I'll help you out with the filling the application. I'll assess your projects that you have done and write those projects description in the way that PMI accepts the application. So I'll give you the application submission or application filling consultancy together, one-on-one sessions as part of this commitment. So we'll submit this application together. Once it is submitted, there is a review period after which you are allowed to pay for the exam and book your exam. And in the review process, if you are audited, if they say that we need to audit you, then it's also pretty much very straightforward process. Whoever people that you have mentioned that you have done the project with, those references, you need to approach them, and then they need to confirm that, yeah, you have worked with them. So there will be an email or format that they need to fill and submit. And also along with that, you need to submit sometimes your educational certificates as well if you have done the bachelor degree. But this is normal that applications are get audited. We have seen that this process has become more stringent, and we can expect that 2 or 3 applications out of 10 applications would be randomly selected for the audit. But nothing to worry about. Once it is audited, it's also a straightforward process. And once you're audited, then PMI also will ask you to provide the pre-approved 35 contacts hours certificate, which I will issue to you. So in the case of audit, you will also attach that again. Now, cost. PMP exam costs $555 for those who are not PMI members, and it costs $405 for those who have PMI membership. Now, you need to pay $129 a year for getting the membership from PMI, and $10 is the application fee. So $139 if you pay, even then it is worth you are getting, let's say, less, you are paying less amount than a non-member. So getting a membership will give you some other benefits also. You will have your own copy of PM Book Guide. I'll come to the PM Book Guide. It's a project management body of knowledge with your name in the footer, and then you will have an access to templates and the PMI standard. You will have an access to their job portal where you can apply jobs roughly everywhere in the world wherever project managers are required, and will have access to many more continued learning opportunities through webinars, seminars, yeah, and a lot of discounts you will get when you decide to purchase any material from PMI or any project management related or leadership related books. So there are many benefits to become a member, and roughly you save $10 as well if you become a member while submitting your exam. Yeah. Now, just to make it very clear, the training that I am providing here, this cost is for the training that you already have committed. But once you not to me, to Project Management Institute. Now, coming to Project Management Body of Knowledge, it is in its 7th edition now. Remember when I said that the pioneers of project management which gathered and they wanted to form the organization or forum for project managers to share the knowledge. So they came up with this body of knowledge as a book to collect and gather the insights that are collected from various project managers, and they started to put up this methodology which we call now today PM Book Guide. What it is, it's a collection of standards, it's a collection of standard definitions for project management, for program management, and so on. It calls the collection of best practices. If you apply this method to manage your projects, the chances of success in your projects will increase. So the knowledge that you will learn, the techniques, the tools and techniques that you will learn through this guide are proven techniques which have been applied by hundreds of thousands of project managers across the world. So that's why they bring to you this knowledge, so that you, once you apply this knowledge in your projects, you will be also succeeding. Now, when we are talking, we are as of now, the latest edition is 7th edition, which was released in 2021, and PMI Institute releases each 4 or 5 years a new new PM Book Guide version. So now latest version is still 7th edition. The PMP exam is not from PM Book Guide. PMP exam is from the PMP exam content outline. So it's built on the PMP exam content outline, which is 3 or 4 page document, and it's worth looking into this document because it gives you the scope of the exam. You may continue to learn project management throughout your life, but what you will be tested on, you need to know, because we are here to pass the PMP exam. So we need to also know what we will be tested on. So this 3 or 4 page document is very important. It gives you some focus that where I need to focus, which situations I need to focus on, so that I can clear the exam successfully. So that document is called PMP exam content outline. I have summarized the exam content outline in this slide. All right. When it comes to exam, there are 3 domains of the exam: the people domain, the process domain, the business environment domain. The people domain will cover roughly 42% of your exam questions. So let's say out of 180 questions, 76 questions will come from people domain. Now, the other part is the process. The process domain covers 50% of your exam, which is roughly 90 questions out of 180. And the third part is the business environment, which covers 8% of your exam, which are 14 questions out of 180 questions. Now, what does people domain entail? If you look into the slide for the blue highlighted content, people domain is all about soft skills, leading people, working with people. Projects are not done by one individual. Projects are done by people who we work with, and the stakeholders who we lead. So we need to know how we motivate the people, how we build shared understanding among the people, and this is all about your soft skills and communication skills and leadership skills. Then we have the process domain. Process domain is pure method about leading a project, from initiation, planning, monitoring, controlling, executing, closing. So there are various processes which we will be talking about, that what is important in initiating the project. We need to develop charter, we need to identify stakeholders. So these are the processes that we need to understand in a bit more detail, and these are quite many processes. You need to put up the scope in place, you need to put up the risk management process in place, and so on. So it's about the nitty and gritty or technicalities of the project management, and this is the method which is proven method to lead the projects successfully. Then it comes to business environment, and business environment is about linking your project purpose with the organizational strategy. It's about understanding what does your organization do, and then how a project will support your organizational objectives. So the issues like compliance, the issues like organizational structures, all those will come under the business environment context. So this slide gives you the context of what you will be tested in your PMP exam. And this is so important to know that you will be tested in the people area, process area, and business environment area. I hope this slide is clear for both of you. You have any questions? Okay. Silence is considered as no questions.
It's all right so far. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, this slide also tells about that the same thing that people is about soft skills, processes, technical skills about managing your schedule, your cost, your risks, and those processes. And business environment is where you find the connection between your projects and the strategy. I talked about briefly that there are situational questions in the PMP exam. So there will be multiple choice questions. Multiple choice means that you will be given 4 options and you need to select 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 5. It can be multiple responses where there can be 5 options and you need to select the best 2, or there can be 4 options, you need to select the best 2. There can be matching questions. We'll see in the next slide, hotspot question and the fill in the blanks question. So let's see the examples of each type of these questions. This is one of the multiple choice questions that we also practiced the other day when you joined the demo session. Well, the question is a situational question given in case of where there are 4 options and one of the option is the best option. We can take a chance to attempt this question together just for practice. Yeah. So your team is tasked with creating a new financial platform for a client in a highly regulated industry. Project has strict compliance requirements that must be met, and the client is expecting the product to be ready for launch within next 6 months. The client also wants the product to be flexible and adaptable to changing market conditions and customer needs. Now, given these requirements, what approach should the team take to ensure efficient development while meeting clients' needs of strict deadline and compliance to the requirements? Which development method you should choose out of the following: waterfall development, incremental development, adaptive development, or hybrid development? I know these are the topics of future. As of now, I do not expect you guys to answer this question, but if you would like to try, I'll be also here to explain you. Gigi, would you like to try?
Considering the question, which is adapting to changing conditions, I think C.
Okay. Yeah. And what do you think, George?
That's the one I was going to guess because adaptive is in the whole point of the whole question.
Yeah. True. Yeah. We can be adaptive. We can be very traditional, predictive, or we can be hybrid of both. But it all depends on the client. If the client is flexible, then we are also flexible. We can also be adaptable. But if the client is very strict when it comes to their needs and the deadlines, it gives us some food of thought to balance our relationship with this client. Because if you look into the question, on one side, the client wants the product to be flexible. However, the client approach is not very flexible. They are strict and they want strict deadlines to be followed, and they want the compliance to the requirements. So when you are dealing with such a client, on one side he is raising changes, and on the other side he is not flexible enough to change the deadlines, right? The end dates. Then you need to follow this client in a kind of a hybrid manner, that till the time they will be also flexible, you will be also flexible. Till the time they will come to the conventional or the contractual project management, that what's in the scope, so let's follow the contract, then we'll talk the contractual language. So I would say that this type of client is that where we are okay to be adaptable till the time client is adaptable. So I would go with the hybrid, if you guys understand now. Make sense?
Can you click on the unmute?
Okay, all good. Okay. Now multiple choice question, which means you want to comment?
I was gonna say something. When I read that question the very first time, my first initial was gonna pick hybrid. But then after I read it again, when she said about adaptive, then I'm like, well, that makes more sense. So I changed my answer. But originally my first thought I was gonna pick D. But I guess once we have more knowledge, because I don't know what a waterfall development is. I don't know what incremental development is.
Yeah.
So I don't know any of this stuff yet. So it's
true. For sure. It's not a test of knowledge. It's just to know that what type of questions are multiple choice questions, and what type of questions are the multiple responses questions, and then we will be getting familiar with these type of questions. So on. Yeah, you are right. You are not aware about the other type of methods now, and this is not the scope of today's lecture as well. So let's proceed to get to know what kind of questions will be in the exam. Thanks, George. Thanks. Now, all right. So now, without going into the details of the question, I would just want to tell you that there are 5 options given in this question, and 2 of these options are correct, and 3 of these options might not be the correct. So you may have to select 2 out of 5. And then you may see in the exam very few questions, maybe 1 or 2 times out of 180 questions, that you will be matching the right side with the left side. So like the way the matching works. So if you see the left side, there are various process groups, and the right side, the outcomes of those process groups. So you need to select, like, in initiation, what do you produce? Let's say we talked about project charter, and it matches with the initiation process group. So if I need to draw the lines, I may mention here the project charter, but if I need to just match, I can say that during initiation, we develop the project charter. During execution, we produce the deliverables, and during planning, we produce the project management plan, and then during monitoring and controlling, we generate some reports. And what else? During closing, we archive project files and the documents. So this is the matching type of question that you may see in the exam. Let's do it. And then we may have hot spot question. So now the options are A, B, or C, and you need to just select that. Let's say based on the question in the given here, you need to select A, B, or C. What is the correct answer? So on the diagram itself. So where is the which hotspot is the correct answer? So let's say the project management plan specifies the predictive development approach has been selected to produce the deliverables, where in the project lifecycle will be the overall risk be lowest. So it's saying that while managing a project from beginning till end, where do you see that the risks are higher? In the initiation, planning, execution, or closing. So you just need to select whatever picture or the spot you see that it will be high. Risks will be higher in the beginning, or in the middle, or in the end. You just need to answer that. So it will be the selecting the spot on the picture. Fill in the blanks is just like selecting multiple choice question, where you just need to select A or B or C option from the given options. What can fill the blank? And these will be also very few. All right. So PMI also adopted agile and adaptive development approaches nearly now 8 to 10 years ago. Primarily, project management professional exam was predictive project management, which is conventional project management. Now we have seen that PMI has started adopting agile way of managing projects, not the conventional way of managing project. And what is the conventional way of managing project is that we sit with the client, we gather the requirements, we define the scope, and then we lock the scope. And then we say that any revision to this scope will actually make us also to revisit the commitments or the deadlines or the schedule and the cost, and there will be implications. So it will be a thorough change request process to change any scope that we have gathered and closed. So it's a pretty contractual talk with the project from the project management perspective. We are not flexible. We are having strict change control procedures. Once the scope is locked, we move to the development, and during the development, we do not want to go back to the requirement phase. So this is where there is no feedback, or there is no loop back from development back to the requirement, or from testing back to the development, or from closing back to the testing. So there's no feedback. So it's pretty much process. You gather the requirements of the project, and you close the requirements. Then one phase is finished, you move to the design, you develop the full design, and then you lock the design. And then you move to the development, and then you do the development, and you do the complete development, and you lock the development, then you do the complete testing, and then you deliver the final product is a big bang. So this is roughly predictive project management. So now the thing is that agile is included in your PMP exam, which means that 40 to 50% of your exam is still predictive, but 60% of your exam or 50% to 60% of your exam will have agile scenarios. And this requires us to also indulge more into the agile project management during our course. All right. So with this, I mark completion of the our first session. I hope you guys have enjoyed the first session. And if you have any question on the first session, which was primarily about PMP, you may ask.
I think it's very clear. Everything that you've explained is very clear. We don't know the actual answers to the questions, but what you presented is the type of questions to be expected, right? You're not expecting, I mean, currently we are not supposed to know the answers, but what we need is to understand the approach of the questions and what type of questions will appear, right?
Correct. Now, both of you have received the login to the learning management system, and have you tried to log in, Gigi?
Yes, thank you. I did.
And I did the other day because I was texting you. I got on, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, thank you. You got it.
Now I do have a question.
Yeah,
I understand 35 hours what needs to be logged on to learn this, but in that first graph that you had, it said a 4-year college degree. Well, I don't have that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be harder for me, and I have to do twice as much because I don't have that college degree.
No. You don't need to study twice as much because you don't have the degree. But what you need to do is that you need to come out of your experience. You need to demonstrate 5 years of experience. Let's say if I select 3 projects for a person who has got a bachelor degree, and each of the project is a 1 year long project without any overlap. So it fulfills the requirement. But in case of you, I just need to log 5 projects, let's say, as an example, of 1 year each. So if I manage to write descriptions, or I just manage to demonstrate that you have worked on 5 projects for 5 years, each project was 1 year, this fulfills the requirement for you. Without having a degree, you can sit in the exam.
So I guess with my 12 years experience with the advertising and marketing company, I've pretty much knocked that experience out of the ballpark, because I didn't even realize I was doing project management, but I guess I really did over the 12 years, all over the country. So I've already got that. Would that count?
Yeah, it does count. It does count. And this is very interesting. When you said it twice, now I will tell you that this is exactly I answer to the people who say that I never managed a project. So I tell them, you don't know the definition of a project. That's why you are saying you never managed a project. But in fact, when we will talk about project definition, you will say, oh man, I also manage projects. Yeah, this is true. This is true. Any other question, George?
Yeah, I got a lot, but they'll come within time.
Okay.
I'm just overwhelmed right now because I'm not a smarty pants book smart guy, but
No, you don't need to be over smart to the PMP. It's a basic, but yeah, okay, let's go. So now I come to the module 1 of our project management fundamentals, and this lecture you also have the access to. I cannot open this file. Why? No problem. Yeah, all right. So
can you press like a
break? Okay, we can have break. 10 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Done. I'll pause the recovery. I just resumed the recording. Okay, so I'll repeat. In the second session of this exam, today's class, we will study the business environment domain. If you recall the previous lecture, we talked about PMP exam is comprised of 3 domains: people, business environment, and process. And business environment domain has got 8% of your exam, which is 14 questions. And what does business environment means? That the organizations in which we work on, do we understand what they do, what they sell, and why we do projects? We do projects to deliver value to the business. So business value concept is different from each organization to other organization. So we need to understand what is the fundamental definition of a value and business value. And then we need to understand organizations in which we work. What is the culture of the organization like? What is important for the organization in terms of the priorities, and how they manage the project, and how they manage the changes in this organization that they work in, and the authority of the project manager, and how empowered the project manager is in the type of organizations we work. And then we need to understand the governance that we need to build as a project managers around project. Okay, the governance process, it encompasses the communication governance, the risk and escalation governance, and so on. And then we need to understand the responsibility part of a project manager, that we need to be compliant to the safety standards in whatever we do. We need to be compliant with the environmental standards in whatever we do. As part of the project, we should not harm the environment or the safety of the people that we work with. So this is all about the business environment, and let's explore these topics in detail. So fundamental question about what is a project. PMI defines project as a temporary endeavor which is undertaken to create unique product, service, or a result. Now let's diagnose this definition, that it's a unique endeavor, which means that each project that we do will be a unique project, and it will have unique challenges, and it will produce a unique outcome which has never been done before. The kind of outcome or the product that we will be releasing to the market, nobody has seen that product before. Maybe similar kind of things people have seen, but something new will be there in this end result that we just produced. So uniqueness is one thing. Then it's a temporary endeavor, which means that it's a group of tasks which are done for certain duration. It's not something which is ongoing like an operation. It's something which will be done for a period of time, a time-bound effort with a definite start date and definite end date, and we need to achieve something in this time period. So unique and then time-bound. And then third thing is critical, which is it delivers change, which means it's a catalyst for change. So we have as is environment, we have as is situation that we are in, our revenue is low, and with this product, our future state will be, our revenue will be more. So let's say from X revenue to 10X revenue, we are going to transform because of this product that we will release as part of this project. So projects are catalyst for change. So third thing is that we are bringing the change. We are going to do the business in a new way as part of this project effort. The system that we'll be bringing in as part of this project will help us to operate more efficiently, to deliver to serve our customers in a better way than before. So there should be some change in the way we do the things as part of the outcome of this project. And then it enables the value creation for the organization. So value is realized when you help the organization in some way or another through this project. Either you help them to sell more, to serve faster, to get more business. So then value will be realized, and also maybe to increase their customer satisfaction and improve their brand image. Okay, so that's the project. And what does the success of a project looks like? Okay, so there are certain factors which will really help a project to succeed. Number one comes as the organizations itself. Is the organization mature enough as part of the project management? Do they empower their project? Do they have a methodology in place for managing projects? So organizational project maturity is important. Then the leadership capabilities of a project manager itself, the interpersonal skills of the project manager himself or herself, are they competent enough to lead people on projects? Then it comes to funding. Funding, definitely each project needs funding and a strong sponsor. So if the funding or sponsor is not so strong, then we may also end up not delivering the project. And also, since projects involve people and we need various skill set, so it all comes to the organization's resource pool, that what kind of skills you have to deliver. You may take many promising projects as part of your organization, but you have the capability to deliver those. Do you have in-house capability to deliver those? So you need to have competent skill set, or maybe you need to have people on board who can deliver you. Or if you don't have, then do you have means to have those people on board to deliver those projects? And then we need to be effective communicator. As a project manager, we communicate. Most of the time we communicate. Like 90% of the job of a PM is communication, whether horizontally with the teammates, other project managers, or vertically with the management, or with the suppliers, contractors. He's always communicating in writing, in through his visual communication, voice communication, whatever means you can say. So we need to be efficient in the communication. And then your understanding about the problem solving maturity, your understanding of the problems and what can be done, your situational leadership, and all these skills comes into place. So are we clear about what is a project and how a project can succeed? Gigi, would you like to summarize in your own way?
Yeah, so the project is unique in its own way, no matter how many times it has been done before, because the circumstances, the resources, and all the environment may be different. So it is considered unique. But the important thing is a project has a start and it has an end. It's not something that goes forever. So there is a time allocation for it, but in the end there should be a result. And the result, of course, is in compliance to the stakeholders' expectation, and the holistic point of view, it will produce change in terms of the financial setting of a company, environment, and I think the impact it has in humanity. Like if you're involved in a project about, let's say, a bridge or a building or any infrastructure, it will certainly change the way people will be moving, living in that country. And if you're involved in a project that is related to systems or IT, it will affect the way people work in that company.
Wow.
So that's
Amazing.
the way I see it. It's really a lot to do with people and the processes involved. So that's the three components, which is about business, about team, right? What else? People, team, processes. So these are all integrated.
Perfect.
And that's what would contribute a successful project.
Wow. Perfect. Perfect. I really like the examples and the way you described. Thank you very much. Now, it's very clear for us what is a project. Now, let's go to little bit background. I touched this in the previous lecture also, that when PMI Institute was founded in 1969, I mentioned 1968 roughly. What does they do? What does they do? Okay, they serve the world through their publications and seminars and the printed material and the project management related material like PM book guide and certifications. Now, this is how the project management has been there from thousands of years. It's not a new discipline. If you look into in the world today, the 7 wonders of the world, or maybe pyramids, which are the oldest, which dates back to thousands and thousands of years ago. And these pyramids cannot be the outcome of nature. These are the marvelous piece of human work, right? It cannot be something which is done without any management or project management, right? So what happened lately is that it turned out to be a proper discipline and the profession very lately in hundreds of years ago. And now we have seen the bodies defining the standards in the project management, like the PMI, and but we do have the other bodies, like in Europe we have the XELOs, which has defined their own standard, which is Prince 2 standard in project management. So PMI methodology is not the only methodology to manage the projects. We do have other frameworks as well, but not many methodologies, by the way. So we'll come into the discussion of what is a methodology and what is a framework. Now, the statement that's written here, that what projects do simply not producing the projects do not simply produce outputs, but more importantly enable those outputs to drive outcomes that ultimately deliver the value to the organization and the stakeholders. It's a very profound statement from the PM book guide, and the more we read it again and again, we'll see that it's not the deliverable, it's the outcome that is important, and not only the outcome, but the value that is delivered as part of the outcome. So our job as project manager is not ending by delivering the deliverables. We may be, at least we may have very clear understanding of the outcomes, and so that we should deliver the outcomes of the as part of delivering the project, we should also particularly focus about what outcomes we will be delivering to the organization, and as part of the outcomes, what benefits or business value the organization is going to get. So it's a full roadmap that we need to give to the organization, not just the deliverable. Okay, pretty much about project lifecycle, and the approaches that we manage the projects are conventional, which is predictive approach of the project management. To put it in simply words, it's a plan-based approach, and then there is a change-based approach, in which that we need to plan upfront. We need to know that what is the scope of the project I'm delivering, what are the, then I need to plan the resources needed, the budget needed, the time needed, so that ahead of, like, without even starting the project, I just need to plan everything in detail that is involved in this project. Plan-based projects are, as an example, Gigi mentioned that we are talking about the example of a project as constructing a bridge. Okay, so constructing a bridge is kind of a project where we do not see that we will have so many frequent changes. We can envision the end result on the day one. I can clearly envision that it is going to be a bridge, and how does it look like? At least the not exact design or specification can be envisioned, but I can say that it's just a bridge, right? So I can estimate how much time and effort will be required to construct this kind of bridge to start with. But there are certain kind of projects which are exploratory projects, like going to the moon, building a house on Mars, or maybe something which is so optimistic, right, where we do not know how we will reach there, how this will happen, what kind of complexities involved in doing so. So we cannot, when we cannot envision it, when we cannot, then we cannot estimate it on the day one. We do not have clarity. We do not have the picture of the end goal. How does the end goal look like on the day one? We may brainstorm, we may move on and gather more detail, and then we may know better clarity, but with the passage of time. So we can estimate to the point we know. So this is the change-based approach. That let's say, take it as an example, you're driving in the dark night, there is no street light on the road, and then you are driving in with the visibility of your own headlights. So you have the visibility till 2 kilometers or 500 meters. And as you move along, like to another 500 meters, you have the visibility for more 500 meters. So these are the change-based projects where we do not know that how does the end goal looks like, but we know something about it today. And as we move along, after a week of effort or 2 weeks of effort, we will know more about the project or the outcome. All right. So in the plan-based approach, what kind of roles we may see? We may see a project manager, we may see a project sponsor as a title holders. Okay, and we will talk about delivering the outcome or the deliverable of the project as a single delivery. Let's say we'll say, okay, a bridge cannot be delivered like in a working condition in small chunks. A bridge will be delivered as a single whole, one big bang delivery. Okay, so we are talking about one phase project where the delivery will happen in the end, or value will be realized in the long term. Okay, in the plan-based approach, what else we will see that yeah, when we deliver the projects, the deliverables of the project, we will have some transition period where we will hand over the outcome of the project to the operations team or to the customer, and then there will be a transition period where they will start to know about the new product. We need to also train them. So the transition, in the transition phase, we need to also provide them the training manual, the user manual, and whatsoever. So there is a proper transition period involved. All right. Now, in the change-based approach, we see that we will talk more about agile, incremental, iterative development approaches, and will not plan the project fully in the beginning on the day one. We'll talk about short sprints or short iterations. And these are so short, it's not like even a 6-month phase of a project, or it's not like a 6-month project. It's like 2 weeks iteration in which we will plan, develop, design, test, and launch, and see something which is really working. If it is satisfies the need, we will start using it. If it doesn't, we will improve it in another cycle, in another iteration of 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, in which we will improve it, iterate over it. So this is a continuous cycle of evolving a product through various iterations and then releasing something which is really feature after feature or improvement after improvement. So that's a change-based approach in which we will see the role players like product owner, project team, scrum master. Now the name of the project manager or the title of the project manager will little bit transition from project manager, which is a conventional project manager, to scrum master. That would be an agile acronym of the project manager. And then there will be some role that is agile coach, which for, and I will in detail explain the role of agile coach later, and then a facilitator role. So what does we do? In terms of value delivery, we deliver the value incrementally and iteratively. So what does these acronyms mean? If you deliver the outcome or deliverable of the project as one big bang delivery, that's one single delivery. But if you have multiple deliveries, it means that you have you are following some kind of iterative project or agile project, because you have multiple deliveries. And then let's say you delivered a feature, and then you build another feature, and then you build another feature on top of those previous features. So you are incrementing one feature on top of another feature. Like in iteration 1, you delivered A feature, iteration 2, you delivered B feature on top of A, and in iteration 3, you delivered C feature on top of A and B. So you are not only building feature after feature, but you may also be improving A and improving B and improving C all the way along. So it's like iteratively you are improving feature A, which is already delivered, and on top of it you are building the feature B as well. And then once you are building C, you are iterating over A and B, and you are also delivering C. So you are iterating and you are incrementing. I think it's a little bit complex, but we will be getting along with it. But just to understand that we have plan-based approach when it comes to development phase of a project, and then we have a change-based approach. In a plan-based approach, we have one single delivery. In a change-based approach, we have multiple deliveries. And in a change-based approach, we can talk about incremental delivery or iterative delivery as well. And what is agile? Agile is, at the same time, it is iterative as well as incremental. So yeah, so and then what kind of roles are there in agile? We have product owner, we have scrum master, we have agile coach, we have facilitator, and the value is delivered in multiple. We can realize the value short term, unlike the projects that are plan based. We can realize the value in short terms, and multiple deliveries can happen. And also the key about agile is that we ask for the feedback from the customer, and with the feedback of the customer, we improve our products. I hope I tried. But if you have any questions, feel free. It's a very important topic, and we will also understand it in more and more detail as we move along. Gigi, George, any question?
It's okay.
Okay.
Try
If you
to
see,
absorb it.
yeah, if you see these, there are certain symbols that we will be always seeing. So whenever you see a symbol like this, you will be having a plan-based approach, which we call either predictive, or we call it predictive project management, or waterfall, because you see it's like a waterfall, and I explained you in the Excel now what does a waterfall looks like. And then whenever you see the symbol like a system, and then its feedback loop is there. So this is also symbolic representation of agile. Okay, throughout the course, whenever you will see, this is the symbolic representation of agile. Okay, and then we will have a hybrid. So hybrid is a mixture of both. You have a feedback loop, and then you have also a waterfall. So it's at the same time, it's iterative as well as incremental. Okay, so it is a combination of both. Now let me individually take you through these cycles in a bit more explanation. I would open the Excel sheet, and this is somehow we will do. Okay, sorry guys, just a minute. Let's take an example of an IT project. We are doing an IT project, IT software development project, okay? And then we say that we are doing it in the conventional way, which is waterfall method, or we are doing it in the, you want me to make it a little bit bigger so you guys can, is it visible now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will talk about some life cycle, which is IT project life cycle. Okay. Now IT project life cycle starts in a waterfall method. It starts with the requirement capturing phase. Okay. And then what you have is the, let's say, design phase. And then what you have is the development phase. And then what you have is the testing phase. Let me say it's phase. And then let me say it's phase. And then let me say phase and requirement phase. Sorry about that. And then we may have something called, after testing, we may have launch, let's say. Okay. And there are certain activities which are done during launch. Part of that is the transition to the operations and then testing phase. All right. Now, what do you see here is a kind of waterfall, like a water which falls from top to bottom and it never goes up, right? We say that it's a waterfall. So we say there is no feedback loop from here back to the previous stage. Let's say we do not go from launch back to the testing. We do not go from testing back to the development. We do not go to design back to from development to design, or we do not go from design to requirements. We don't do this. We just do this like a waterfall, like this, and then phase after phase, we finish. So this means not a single line of code is written until full complete design is ready. If you see here, you will not write a single line of code until your design is done. You will not start testing until your complete development is done. You will not start designing until you capture and locked the requirements. So you have phase gates. These are your phase gates. One phase ending, other phase starting. One phase ending, other phase starting. One phase ending, other phase starting. If I relate back to our slide, if you see what's written over here, if you see, new phase begins only when the previous phase is completed. So that's plan-based approach. New phase begins only when the previous phase is completed and activities completed in a distinct or a linear fashion. So this is the characteristic of a plan-based approach, which you can see in this Excel, that activities are completed in a distinct linear fashion and no phase begins. A phase begins only when the previous phase is completed. When we are done with the requirement, we can start design. When we are done with the design, we can start development. When we're done with the development, we can start testing. What is the problem of this approach? The problem is we are living in a very adaptive environment. The change is inevitable. We may need to change requirements when we are in the design phase. We may have a new requirement for which we may need to change or alter our design. Let's say we are doing development and then there is a change request coming. So it's very late. We are in the development and a new change request comes, which means I need to revisit my design. I need to revisit my code that I have written, and I need to discard a lot of stuff which is already done. So my effort will be wasted. We do not want this in conventional projects more often. We do not want this. Okay. But it's inevitable. It can come. Change is inevitable. We need to find a way to manage a change. And that's where the agile comes in, which gives us an opportunity to loop back. This loop back opportunity was not there in the conventional or the waterfall development method. Okay. That we could not loop back to the previous phase. Now let's go back and see what else we understood from today. From the change-based approach. Okay, so plan-based approach is clear, guys? Gigi, George?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so then I will little bit make it. Okay. So there are other approaches, and you also heard me saying this is a predictive project management. I call it plan-based project management, plan-based approach, or I can call predictive. And why I call it predictive approach of project management, because on the day one, I can predict two things. I can predict cost and time, two things. Why? Because on the day one, I know the scope. If I know the scope, I can predict the time and cost required. And this gives me one more way to remember this triangle. You have scope, you have cost, and you have, let's say, time. Okay, so this is fixed in agile. Sorry, this is fixed in plan-based approach. The scope is fixed and known. What can vary is cost and time. what can be predicted is cost and time. So let's say in this kind of project, a sponsor walks in and asks Mr. Project Manager, I have to construct a bridge or a house. How much it will cost me and how much time is needed. So project manager will use his planning muscles, and he or she can come up with the cost and time based on the scope of the house. That okay, you need 2-bedroom villa. Okay, he will ask few questions, and then it will be very clear for him that what kind of house is being talked about. Okay, so without going into nitty-gritty, the rough order of magnitude estimate he can give not on day 1 or day 2, maybe 3, but he can predict. He can predict because it's not something shot in the dark. It's not something visionary. It's not some software that need to be developed. It's something which is visual. We can see a house, a bridge, a building, a high-rise building. Even we can visualize it. We can estimate it. The problem comes when we deal with complexity and uncertainty, and an ever-changing environment where even client himself do not know it all. He want the flexibility. Today he is telling you something. Tomorrow he want the flexibility to tell you an entirely different thing, right? So in that case, I cannot predict how much time and cost it will be required, because Mr. Sponsor, you don't know what you want because you don't know what you want in your software, and you can tell me what you want, and I can do something for you based on what you described me today. Tomorrow, if if environment change, if you change your mind, if you got to know something more, you are free to innovate, but tell me something so that I can start working on. So this is the way we manage in the agile environments, that when the requirements are open, now that the triangle is inverted in agile. In agile, what is there? The triangle is like this. So here, problem is that scope is the only variable. It's varied. Scope is varies. Not known. It need to be found out. But the sponsor will tell you, I have $100,000 and I have to go to market in a month. Okay, with some new product. So he knows, he doesn't know what he wants, but he knows that he has this much budget and he need to go to market in a month. So his constraints, he knows that he has little money, little time. But with what cool product he should go to the market, he doesn't know. He need to he want to go to the market with best product. But now the planning muscles of the PM will be utilized in understanding the features that should go into the product which sells, which sells. So yeah, so now the planning muscles are in the scope of the project. Like, what are the valuable features that we need to deliver in this minimum time and in this minimum budget, so that the client should be happy with the final product. You got this idea, guys? Gigi, idea clear? I think.
Yes, good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
clear. You
Yeah,
continue.
I just was not very efficiently annotating it, but it's cost and it's time. So this is fixed, cost is fixed, but the variable thing is scope is variable. So I can play with the features in, feature out, some features in, some feature out, to some features X, some features on the product removed, some brought in, to just make the product competitive. And what shall I do with this type of development? Now let's come to the cycle. Our cycle here will be repeating. Sorry, our cycle, let's forget about annotating. We come back here. In Agile, what we will do? We will have repetition of requirement gathering. Like requirement gathering will be done. Like let's say we say in 2 weeks, what we will be doing? We'll gather the requirements, okay, with the customer, whatever he knows, and then we'll quickly start the designing, okay, and then we will be doing the development of whatever we understood. We will test and we'll deliver. We'll test and we'll deliver something working for our client. But in this case, this time period is actually very small iteration of 2 weeks. But if you see this time period, it was 1 year. The full project was 1 year project. And if you see one more thing, if you see, I don't need you, I can X you. If you see one more thing here, insert. This requirement phase could took 2 months. I just gathered the requirements, and then I took 2 months to design, and I took another 4 months to develop maybe. And then I took 1 month of testing, and then I launched in a maybe 2 months or 1 month. Maybe it all took me 4, 8, and 10 months maybe. Yeah, but maybe okay. Let's to make the math work. We say okay, 4 months of development and 4 months of design. Okay, then it makes it 12. But here we are going to repeat this cycle one after another. Now let's make it short iteration. So we call it a 2-week iteration or a sprint, iteration or a sprint. And this is, guys, this is agile. This is change-based approach or agile approach. Okay, and we are going to repeat it again and again, iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, so that customer sees we are delivering something after each 2 weeks, and then we ask for the feedback and we improve. We ask for the feedback after delivery. Here at this stage, we ask for the feedback here, feedback, and then we gather the feedback, and then here also we gather the feedback. So the feedback was missing in the previous method, and we are adding the feedback. This feedback loop is very important because we ask client to give us some requirements. Based on that, we design, we develop, we tested, we deliver. Then we ask for the feedback. Okay. And meanwhile, client was free to innovate. Like he was free to think about next feature. After 2 weeks, he came, he reviewed our work, and then he gave us feedback. If he liked it, we may ask for more requirements and we work on the next feature. But if he has some feedback, we may iterate over it. The same feature that, let's say, we delivered feature A, we delivered here, we may iterate over it again, and then we deliver feature A again. If there is any feedback was given, we will not take up the feature 2, we'll just deliver. So with this idea, and then this continues until we end up with the money. Because when I deliver, when I engage a developer, a tester, a designer, a business analyst. So what is the job of the requirement gathering team? A business analyst will be needed. Here, some developer will be needed, such as front-end developer, some back-end developer will be needed for the development. Okay, a tester will be needed. Okay, now a PM will be needed for the delivery. Now this team will cost me, right? So from the product or project budget, the cost will come. So in this type of project, if a sponsor comes to the PM and asks that how much time, how long the project will run, so he will say that as much as you like you want to continue it forever, we will continue to enhance it. If we'll continue to run the sprints. If you want to whenever you stop that, okay, that's the majority of the product, we stop here. But now the question comes that the projects are done for the short period of time or maybe long period of time, but time box events, we are not staying away. We have short time box iterations, small projects within a product life cycle. Within a product that we are delivering, we have small projects that we are doing for 2 weeks each. Okay, and we are iterating over it, doing again and again to improve single product that we are launching. And we may release.
We will need to leave in like at 11.
Yeah, we are done. I was
so just to summarize it, if you go back to that diagram.
Yeah.
Right. So the first one, the phases of development, design, requirement, design. I can see it properly. Can you make it a little bit bigger? Okay. Requirement, design, development, testing, launch. It's only one cycle. And somehow there is a fixed target date. It's like you don't repeat all of these phases again because it's like you're very clear of exactly what is the result that the stakeholders wanted.
That's why it's the waterfall design going down in the diagram, right?
Whereas the second one, there is like a repetitive cycle of doing all of those phases because there is an ending process of improvement. So like improvement 1 is iteration 1. So you have to go through all of that requirement, design, development, testing, and launch. So now the end result or the date of completion of this project cannot be determined straight away because it depends on what the stakeholder would like to do with regards to the iteration or improvements. Am I right?
Perfect, beautifully summarized. you are best in summarizing the things.
Okay, well, you've already explained it, and this diagram that you made, I do appreciate it. It makes it clearer for us to understand. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. All right, I think enough for today, guys. It was how was it?
It's brilliant. It's yeah, it's brilliant.
Delighted.
Thank you so much for this. It's very inspiring. It's a lot of work to be done, but now well, our homework is that we need to look at the dashboard and go through the session 1, right?
Hello, George.
Good morning.
Morning. Let's give other people maybe 2-3 minutes to join.